Stop staring at that generic login screen. You just unboxed the InnoPro camera, and that default 123456 password has got you feeling a little bit exposed. Don't worry, you're in the right place. Today I'll be taking you through every single tab in the web interface. We're talking H.265 compression to double your storage. Setting a static IP so your camera never disappears. I'm still here. And dialing in OnVef settings for pro level integration. We're gonna be going from out of the box to total lockdown. Grab the cheat sheet in the description and let's get into the configuration. First thing you want to do is enter your camera's IP address into Google Chrome. Next up, you'll be asked for a username and a password. The username is admin, and the password is 123456. And you're going to see yourself, hey, how's it going? Let's do this video. What really matters is the configure tab. The first thing under System Manager is device info. So this just basically tells you the information about your InnoPro. So if you ever have a technical question in the future, which I doubt you'll have, this is what you'll need to pull up to give us some information. Next up is time setting. First, you want to make sure you set your time zone. UTC stands for United Time Coordinated. I live in Utah, which happens to be the Denver time zone, which is -7, so I put that in here. When your camera comes to you and what you're probably looking at, it says manual update time. Put it on NTP server, Network Time Protocol. This will auto-update to make sure that the time zone that you're in and the time update based on your network. The other thing I would recommend is put it on daylight savings time. You may not have that in your area. That's up to you. Next up is User Manager. This is where you change the 123456 password. So if you go into admin, you're gonna have to enter an actual legitimate password. Once you do this, it's locked in until you change it again. I recommend doing all of your InnoPros. If you bought 4 of them or 3 of them, make them all the same passwords so you don't forget and you understand. That way when you set up cameras on a network, it's just easier because you know the password for each one. Next up is Storage Manager. There's nothing to do here. There's no SD card in the InnoPro to save footage, so move on. System maintenance. This is an auto-reboot function. I recommend doing this. Turn it on. I have mine for Sunday at 2 a.m., which means all the cameras will just do a quick auto-reboot. You'll barely notice it if you happen to be up at 2 a.m. or something was happening in the yard. They reboot really quick. This way it keeps everything clean on your network. Next up is Stream Manager. The first setting is video setting. This is where it's going to show your main stream and your substream. And as you can see, the resolution is different for each. We recommend changing your main stream to H.265, which is going to get you better compression and save a lot of storage if you decide to save stuff. Resolution, 1920 by 1080 is best. You can go higher if you want to, especially if you're displaying this live feed of the InnoPro on a big screen TV. But 1920 is great. Leave the frame rate, leave the variable bit rate. It'll go up to 2048 if it needs to. Iframe interval is how often your screen gets refreshed. And in this case, it's every 4 seconds, the whole screen gets refreshed. Leave it alone, don't touch it. Might as well put the quality up to best. Don't forget to hit save. Next up is audio setting. Audio setting is if you actually hooked up a microphone to the InnoPro, which is possible. They're available on Amazon. I'll make sure there's a link in the description. If you turn this on and you plug in that microphone, you'll be able to hear things through the InnoPro when it records. OSD setting, on screen display. If you turn this on, what will happen when you hit save, now you can have all kinds of fun stuff on here. You can put the clock up to the top, you can move it around on the screen, you can name the camera. This is cable view, video, and you hit save, then it will update right here. So this is kind of a fun page. You can add a bunch of stuff to this screen. Usually you don't want to put too much because then it kind of clutters up what you're looking at, but it is nice to know, let's say you put this by the back door or the calving barn, you would put calving barn right there. Next up is image setting. We have spent the time to make sure that these settings are great for InnoPro. If you want to change these, you're welcome to do that. Like for example, if you want to turn up the saturation, obviously I look fantastic right there. So no, it's not that great. Leave them where they're at. You can mess with those if you want to. Make sure you hit save when you're done. You can mirror your image. So if you hit close here and you hit save, then it mirrors the image, which is kind of cool. Don't mess with lamp setting. Don't mess with IR cut setting. You will not be happy. Just leave those two alone. We're on the home stretch here. Now we're in Alarm Manager. Most people are not going to do this. These detect right here. If you have an NVR that's recording all of your footage, which is not included in this video, the NVR would automatically kind of figure this out for you. If you wanted this on or you needed to, you would turn this on, and this is where you would block out, like, let's say a ceiling fan that is constantly in motion and you don't want to record all this footage because there's really nothing going on. The fan's just going on. So you can block out certain places that you don't want to trigger this. For the most part, you're not going to want to deal with this. I would undo this. This just means it's going 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. You can change it. And this is where you will select if you want that trigger to send you a message, send you an email, or go to a server, FTP. So you would select this, and then towards the end, I'll show you how you hook up your email to this. Same thing with human detect. You're going to create a region to possibly see a human so that it can detect that. You would turn this on. This is the sensitivity. It's going to basically record for 20 seconds. This is the schedule once again, 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. You can change it. You want to say, well, you know, I kind of want an email every time this happens, which most people don't do because it's probably going to be a lot of emails, but that's where you would do it. Alarm in. This is something that InnoPro is not capable of currently. This would be an external device that would trigger the camera to start recording. So you're going to leave this off. There's really not much to do about this, at least for right now. Timing snapshot. I would not turn this on because what's going to happen, unless you want it, every 30 seconds, it's going to send a snapshot of whatever the InnoPro is seeing to your server if it's selected. Maybe you do want that. Maybe you want it once every day. I don't know. If everything's working, you can just log in and look at it anyway. So I don't know why you would need a snapshot. Maybe you do. Next up is Network Manager. But remember we talked about in the intro, if you don't want it to be dynamic and you want it to be static, this is where you would change that. So you would change this to disable. Once you do that and you hit save, then this IP address for this InnoPro camera is never going to change on your network. It's going to always be 192.168.58. If you want that, great. If not, make sure that you leave this as always enable so that it make it easier to find. Some people want that, some people don't want that, but that's where you change it. All right, next one up, RTSP setting. This is just giving you information about your port. You definitely want to turn this on. If in the future you want to get this out to another device or another server or a phone, this is where that information is. On VIF settings, you definitely want to make sure these are on. They should be already on. This just makes it easier to find your camera on the network. HTTP setting, this is your port. You might need that information somewhere. Here is your email setting that we talked about earlier. Remember, if you set up a trigger or something for it to send it to your email, this is where you would turn it on, and then you're going to have to get this information from your email provider. Your username, password, port, server, I don't know what that is. It's pretty easy. Gmail's different than, let's say, Outlook. It's just a totally different setting. This would be the FTP setting is for your server. So you would enable this if you had a trigger that was already set up, like I talked about in Alarm Manager, right? If you go back here to motion and you turn this on, and you turn this on to FTP, then when you come down here to FTP and you turn this on, it's going to send it here once this information is filled out. Next up is Alarm Center setting. There's really nothing for you to do here. Just leave this one alone for now. It might be coming in the future. This is not something that you need to worry about. And lastly on our list is Platform Manager. Once again, these next two, there's really nothing you need to do, but there's great information in here. There will probably be more coming for InnoPro in the future, and that's when this page and the next page will be very beneficial for you. Currently, there's nothing for you to do, nothing to change, just the information is here if you need it. And just like that, you've gone from a default factory brick to a fully secured high-def camera ready to get to work. No more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 password, and no more camera offline headaches. If you happen to have missed a click, grab that cheat sheet I left for you in the description. Don't forget to hit save on that final page and log out securely to lock the digital front door. Your InnoPro is officially dialed in. I'm Ty, this is InnoPro. Stay safe, stay secure, and we'll see you in the next one.